first bell of the morning echoed through Hartfield High, bouncing off the lockers and tile floors. Students filled the hallways in groups, laughing loudly, comparing outfits, trading gossip before class began. Emilia Hart moved through the noise like she wasn't part of it. She kept her eyes low, her grip firm on the books pressed to her chest. Her long brown hair fell over her face, giving her a thin shield from the world. She walked with quiet intention, always aware of where the bullies usually hung out, always hoping today would be the day she could just pass through unseen. But people like Emilia never stayed invisible for long. She had barely reached the lockers near the gym when a soft voice, dripping with sugar and poison, stopped her tracks. Well, if it isn't our favorite charity case. Emilia froze. Victoria Hale stood in front of her, arms crossed, platinum blonde curls perfectly arranged like she woke up for a photo shoot. Beside her, Sierra James gave one of her trademark giggles, too loud, too eager to impress. "Emilia," Sierra said, looking her up and down. "That sweater again? Seriously? I think my grandma had curtains just like that." A few students passing by slowed down, hoping to witness the show. Emilia's stomach tightened. Her heart came up into her throat, but she stayed silent. Speaking only made it worse. Victoria stepped closer, lowering her voice just enough so only Emilia could hear. "You know, you'd be almost pretty if you didn't try so hard to disappear." She smiled sweetly. "But I guess not everyone's meant to shine." Sierra bumped Emilia with her shoulder as they walked off, sending her stumbling lightly into a locker. Laughter followed them down the hall. Emilia inhaled, steadying her hands. It was another morning, another bruise no one could see. She slipped into her math class, heading for her seat, back row, third from the window. It was the only place she could breathe, except someone was already sitting there. A boy. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair that fell naturally over his forehead. His posture was relaxed but alert, like someone used the reading rooms before entering them. Sunlight from the window framed his face, highlighting sharp cheekbones and eyes that were focused on something outside. He didn't look familiar. At all. Emilia hesitated. Then quietly she said, "Excuse me, this is usually my seat." The boy turned toward her and her heart skipped. His expression was calm, unreadable, but his eyes softened when they landed on her. Without a word, he shifted his chair slightly to the side. He wasn't moving to leave. He was giving her space, right next to him. For a moment, Emilia just stood there. No one ever invited her to sit beside them, but she slipped into the seat, feeling every pair of eyes on her. The classroom door opened again and in walked Victoria. The look on her face when she saw Emilia sitting next to the new boy was something between shock and rage. The teacher cleared his throat. "Class, we have a new student joining us. Adrian Kong." Whispers spread instantly. "Kong? As in Kong Enterprises? As in the luxury hotels? The tech empire? The billions?" Victoria straightened like she had suddenly found her new favorite project. But Adrian wasn't looking at her. He was looking at Emilia, calmly, curiously, as if he saw something no one else ever bothered to notice. Emilia shifted in her seat, her fingers tightening around her pencil. She could already feel Victoria's anger burning from across the room, and she knew, deep in her bones, that her quiet, invisible life had just cracked open. Not because of a cruel joke, not because of another insult, but because someone new saw her before the world told him not to. Someone who didn't know about the rumors. Someone who didn't care she wore the same sweater twice a week. Someone who made room for her when the whole world pushed her aside. Emilia had no idea who Adrian Kong really was, or who she truly was. Sierra leaned in, whispering loud enough for half the class to hear. "Why her?" Victoria approached Emilia after class, arms folded, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "You're in my way." Emilia swallowed. "I didn't." Adrian suddenly stepped between them, calm but firm. "Move," he said to Victoria. She blinked in shock. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Emilia lowered her eyes, heat rushing to her cheeks, but Adrian's voice softened as he turned back to her. "Come on," he murmured. "Let's go." He walked beside her through the hallway. Not in front, not behind, beside her. And that small moment changed everything. The house was unusually quiet when Emilia got home. Her mother sat on the couch with an envelope in her hands, eyes tired, expression nervous. "Sit with me," she whispered. Emilia sat slowly, heart thudding. Her mother took a shaky breath. "There's something I should have told you long ago, about your father." Emilia stiffened. "Mom, what do you mean?" Her mother slid the envelope toward her. Inside were official papers. A name at the top made her breath stop. Richard Hart. Her mother's voice cracked. "He didn't abandon us. Emilia, I left him to protect you." Emilia shook her head in disbelief. "Protect me from what?" "From his world," her mother whispered. "From the pressure, the wealth, the people who want to control him." "Control you?" Emilia swallowed hard. "So, who is he now?" Her mother met her eyes. "He's the CEO of Hart Industries." A soft pause. "And everything he owns will one day be yours." Emilia froze. The bullied girl no one noticed was the future heir of an empire. Her world shifted in one heartbeat. Press the like and subscribe button. It'll make Emilia happy at this shocking moment. The next morning, Emilia walked into school with the truth still heavy in her chest. Her father, the company, the inheritance, none of it felt real. She tried to slip quietly to her locker, but she nearly ran into someone standing there. Adrian. He looked down at her with calm, unreadable eyes. "You okay?" he asked softly. Emilia hesitated. "I'm fine. Just tired." He watched her for a moment, really watched, like he could see every unspoken thought. "You weren't this quiet yesterday," he said gently. Her cheeks warmed. "A lot happened." Adrian nodded slowly. "If anyone bothered you again—" "No." Emilia cut in quickly. "It's not about them." Adrian stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then let me help," he murmured. "Whatever it is." Emilia's breath caught. No one had ever offered that before. Not genuinely. Not gently. Not like this. A group of students passed by, whispering. But Adrian didn't look away. He didn't care who watched. He held her gaze, warm and steady. "Emilia," he said quietly, "you don't have to pretend around me." And in that moment, with the hallway buzzing, with rumors floating around them, with her world shifting beneath her feet, Adrian's calm became the one thing that felt safe. Emilia only wanted a moment to breathe. She slipped into the girls' restroom between classes, but the door clicked shut behind her, and she realized she wasn't alone. Victoria and Sierra stood by the mirrors, waiting. Victoria crossed her arms. "So, you think you're special now?" Emilia froze. "I don't know what you mean." "You sat with Adrian," Sierra snapped. "Twice." Victoria stepped closer, eyes cold. "I'm warning you. Stay away from him." Emilia shook her head. "I didn't do anything." Victoria shoved her shoulder. Not hard, but hard enough to make her stumble. "Exactly," Victoria hissed. "You're nothing. Don't forget." The door swung open. Adrian stood in the doorway. His expression darkened instantly. Without raising his voice, he said, "Move." "Victoria Estefanid." "Adrian, this isn't—" "Move," he repeated, colder now. "Victoria stepped aside." Adrian walked to Emilia. His voice softened the moment he looked at her. "Are you all right?" Emilia nodded, though her hands trembled. I'm fine." "You're not," he said quietly. "Let's go." He placed his hand on her back, gentle, protective, guiding her out. Once they were in the hallway, he turned to her again. "You don't deserve that," he murmured. Emilia's voice cracked. "Why do you care so much?" Adrian held her gaze, his expression soft but intense. "Because," he said quietly, "you're not nothing, and I don't like seeing you hurt." Emilia's heart thudded. For the first time, someone defended her, chose her, saw her, and that moment changed everything. The school intercom crackled. All seniors report to the auditorium. Students whispered as they filed inside. Emilia sat quietly at the back, until the principal stepped up to the microphone. Today, we welcome a special guest, CEO of Hart Industries, Mr. Richard Hart. Emilia's entire body went still. Her father walked onto the stage in a sharp suit, calm and powerful, the room falling silent around him. Victoria's father, Mr. Hale, stood up straighter, suddenly nervous. Adrian, seated across the room, immediately turned toward Emilia. His eyes widened just slightly. Her father scanned the audience and stopped when he saw her. The principal continued. Mr. Hart has requested a moment with his daughter. Gasps filled the room. Daughter? Emilia? No way. Emilia stood slowly, heart pounding. Adrian watched her with a mix of shock and something softer, almost protective. Her father offered his hand. Let's go home, Emilia. She walked toward him, whispers following her like a wave. And as she passed Adrian, he murmured quietly, I'm here. Just 2 words. But they steadied her more than anything else could. She stepped onto the stage. And in front of the entire school, she walked out beside the father no one knew she had. The man whose world she was about to enter. The next morning, Hartfield High felt different. Students didn't stare at Emilia the way they used to. They didn't laugh or whisper insults or bump into her on purpose. They just moved aside. The girl they once ignored was now the daughter of the most powerful man they'd ever heard of. As Emilia walked down the hallway, conversations hushed. That's her. She's the heir. Victoria mess with her? Victoria herself stood by her locker, pale and quiet. Sierra hovered beside her, holding her books like she suddenly forgot how to act confident. Emilia tried to walk past without looking at them, but Adrian stepped into her path gently. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't acting shocked. He just looked at her with soft, steady eyes. You good? He asked. I'm trying to be, she whispered. Adrian nodded once, slow and reassuring. You handled yesterday better than anyone else could. Before Emilia could respond, Victoria stepped forward, voice shaky. Emilia, can we talk? Adrian didn't move away. He stayed at Emilia's side like a quiet shield. Victoria swallowed hard. I didn't know who you were. I shouldn't have treated you like that. I'm sorry. It wasn't fake this time. It sounded scared. Real. Emilia didn't want revenge. Didn't want to humiliate her. She simply said, just don't do it to anyone else. Victoria nodded quickly. Adrian watched her walk away, then turned back to Emilia. You know, he said softly, you're stronger than you think. Emilia looked down, cheeks warm. Or maybe I'm just tired. Maybe, he replied. But you're still standing. Their eyes met for a moment too long, and in the middle of a busy hallway, with whispers fading around them, Emilia felt something shift between them. Quiet, warm, real. That afternoon, Emilia's father brought her to Hart Industries. The building felt like another universe. Glass walls, polished floors, people in suits greeting her with controlled respect. She walked beside her father quietly, trying to absorb everything. When they reached the boardroom, several executives stood. Among them was Victoria's father. The moment he saw Emilia, his face drained of color. Her father introduced her calmly. This is my daughter. She'll be learning about the company moving forward. Every head bowed slightly. Emilia felt the weight of their attention, but she lifted her chin. She wasn't the girl who hid behind her hair anymore. Then the door opened again. Adrian stepped in, not in a school uniform, but in a clean dark shirt and a fitted jacket, looking effortlessly elegant. He bowed respectfully. My father sent me to deliver these. Her father nodded. Thank you, Adrian. As Adrian turned, he spotted Emilia. His eyes softened immediately. He walked over and lowered his voice. Didn't expect to see you here today. Same, Emilia whispered nervously. You okay? She nodded, barely. Adrian leaned slightly closer. You belong here, Emilia. Don't doubt that. Her heart thudded. Even surrounded by executives' wealth and power, he made her feel grounded. Her father glanced between them with interest, but said nothing. When the meeting began, Adrian took the seat beside her, not the one near his father. Hers. And when she looked at him, he simply said, "I'll stay here. You won't be alone." For someone who had spent years invisible, those words meant everything. By the next day, the school's atmosphere had completely changed. Where Emilia once walked unnoticed, people now stepped aside. No whispers, no laughter, just quiet respect and fear from the ones who had hurt her. Victoria approached her between classes, hands trembling. "Emilia, I'm sorry," she said softly. "I shouldn't have treated you like that." Emilia didn't want revenge. She just nodded. "Just don't do it to anyone else." Victoria nodded quickly and stepped back. Adrian had been watching from nearby. He walked up to Emilia, voice low. "You handled that well." "I didn't do much," she said quietly. "You didn't have to," he replied. "You still stood your ground." She looked down, smiling slightly despite herself. Adrian's expression softened. "Emilia, you've changed. In a good way." Her heart fluttered. For the first time, she felt seen. Not because of her father. Not because of the whispers. Because of who she truly was. And Adrian noticed every bit of it. Please like, subscribe, and share will make Emily happier. After school, Emilia stood on the rooftop of Hart Industries, watching the city lights flicker below. Everything felt unreal. The truth about her father, the sudden respect, the whispers. She didn't hear footsteps, but she felt when someone stopped beside her. "Adrian, you disappeared after class," he said softly. "I needed air," she whispered. He nodded, leaning on the railing next to her. "A lot changed for you." Emilia exhaled. "I don't know if I'm ready for all of this." Adrian looked at her gently. "You don't have to be. Just don't face it alone." She turned to him, surprised. "You really mean that?" "Yeah," he said quietly. "I care about you, Emilia. Not your name. You." Her chest tightened, warmth spreading through her. For a moment, the city noise faded. It was just the two of them, quiet, close, breathing the same soft evening air. Adrian reached out his hand, not pushing, just offering. A choice. Emilia hesitated, then took it. His hand closed around hers gently, and he smiled, small, real, the kind that made her heart settle. "You're stronger than you think," he murmured. And for the first time, Emilia believed it. She wasn't the invisible girl anymore. She wasn't powerless. She wasn't alone. This was her life now, and she was finally choosing it. The end. If you were Emilia, what would you do? Comment below. Like, follow, and share for more.